in loving memory of Johnny Clegg.
It would be very hard to find somebody who hasn't heard of Johnny Clegg. It's been nearly 40 years since he began his remarkable career, wooing audiences locally and abroad with his uniquely South African sound. This is Johnny's final journey, the start of his world tour. Johnny Clegg's first band, 𝗀𝗫𝗀𝗶𝘀, was a partnership with cie𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗶, but the beginning of their friendship goes back to when Johnny was at school and cie𝗿𝗶𝗴𝗶 working as a gardener.
I was sitting with my buddy cie𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗶, who I met in around about 1969, 70.
Now, you were a lightie then.
Yeah, we were both lighties. We were 16 years old each, and we just went on a journey together of 15 years. Music was really an expression of our friendship and my interest in Zulu culture. Our music was crossover. We were trying to make a third thing out of things that had been separated.
We have a very tough time on that time. When I met him on that time, I tried to invite him where I was working in West Street in Houghton. And he come there. My boss and my missus there, they chased him away. Said it's not all right to come. So we make a plan. When you come to visit me, you have to stop in the street and then you whistle. You have to whistle, Chicho. I said, oh no, that is John, I have to walk out.
And when he played for you,
Yes.
could you believe what you were hearing from a white man?
I was very surprised. But the main thing to John, once when we met, he read me in my eye and I read him. The feeling was just like a magic, it was just like that.
The thunderous applause for the reunited duo takes Johnny and cie𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗶 back to a very different time. The early days of 𝗀𝗫𝗀𝗃's public performances. It was the 70s. Mixed performances in public places were banned under apartheid. 𝗀𝗫𝗀𝗃 refused to step back and instead went undercover, performing in universities, church halls, and even in people's lounges.
I was arrested when I was 16 at 𝗃𝗏 Hostel. It's a male-only hostel, the bottom of Rissik Street. That used to house 3,000 migrant workers, and we used to dance there on Sundays. All the dancers, there would be about 40, 50 dancers. Each guy would sit in front of each other on the floor, and we'd clap and sing. And I was right at the end, and there was a raid on the hostel by the South African police. And when they came in, they couldn't really see me, and I was small. It was just two constables, and the one looked at me, and he looked at me, and he looked away, and then he looked at me again, and he looked away, and he had a shock, and he came over to me, and he pushed all the other dancers away. He says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "No, I'm dancing." And he said, "Don't worry, you're safe now."
Oh, so he thought you weren't there by choice?
Yeah, he thought I'd either been kidnapped or whatever. I don't know, And then they got irritated with me and angry when they realized that,
You want to be
yeah,
there?
Yeah, and the dance leader said, no, he's our new recruit. So they took me back to my mom because I was too young to put into jail. We had a lot of problems, especially when 𝗀𝗫𝗀𝗃 started. We had 3 whites, 3 blacks. We were actually moving more and more into rural areas, rural townships, because they weren't as under surveillance.
But this ducking and diving...
Yeah, we ducked. We had about 20% of our shows a year closed down by the police.
It was producer Hilton Rosenthal who launched 𝗀𝗫𝗀𝗃, backing them with his own money.
My original dream of working and somehow or other finding something that combined the musics that I had grown up with in South Africa, both white and black, came together when I saw them at a show at Wits. I saw Johnny and cie𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗶. I looked at that relationship between he and cie𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗶. There was a magic that was happening at that point in time, and it was the real thing.
Despite their rising success, Johnny continued to work at Wits lecturing in anthropology, and cie𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗶 continued to work as a gardener. It was only in 1983, after they released their 4th album with the hit 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗓𝗏𝗏 of Africa, that everything changed.
They are the 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗓𝗏𝗏 of Africa, each uprooted one.
We got a top 50 hit. And when that happened, my producer Hilton Rosenthal said to me, there's a road open for 𝗀𝗚𝗃, internationally, and you'll never get this again.
You only had so much leave, now remember.
Yeah. No, so I went to see my prof, and I said to him, Prof, I need to take a sabbatical.
What did he say?
He said, when you walk out the door, we'll never see you again. And it was picked up by a British independent record company. This Englishman fell in love with the song, and John Clegg, the bulldog that he is, he went in and he drove it up the charts.
It was music that we'd never heard before. This whole Zulu tuning and the Zulu guitar, it was an unknown sound for us.
While the band pioneered a vision of a non-racial future for South Africa, performing and playing overseas was often banned because of the cultural boycott, artists against apartheid.
What was most significant about it is we broke the cultural boycott in the UK. Back in the apartheid era, no South African musician could play in the UK. They were just banned by the Musicians' Union, and they came into the UK to perform. It was a major event, not just sort of in the pop music world, but in the political world as well.
We felt like we were caught in the middle of a struggle, which is what we were. And in a sense, the struggle is greater than my musical career. It's the struggle of a people to basically get their freedom. So we understood this, and we met with a lot of the anti-apartheid movements, and we won some over.
Not all, because
not
that's
all.
also interesting.
Yeah, we had problems particularly in Holland and in England. Harry Belafonte intervened on my behalf in Scandinavia, and the doors opened for me.
In 1985, 𝗀𝗚𝗃 split up. 𝗃𝗶𝗴𝗶 went back to KwaZulu-Natal. Johnny formed another band, 𝗀𝗃𝗃, with singer and dancer 𝑑udu Ndlovu.
I call your name. I call your name.
But their partnership lasted only 7 years. In 1993, 𝗀𝗚 was killed in the political violence.
Through all the days that eat away, and every breath that I take.
I lost a lot of friends in the political violence in between 91 and 94. Like every South African, I think, you know somebody or know of somebody who paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I think when 𝗀𝗚 was assassinated, it took the breath out of 𝗀𝗃𝗃. 𝗀𝗚 and I on stage, we made a magic.
And in memory of 𝗀𝗚, Johnny wrote The Crossing.
I've never ever had that kind of connection with a human being in a performance. We were just made for each other, and he was my mentor. He taught me.
I'm searching for the spirit.
Johnny's haunting lyrics and emotionally charged sound have found their way into the soundtrack of a whole range of movies and documentaries, like Great Heart, the title song for 𝗀𝗃𝗃 of the Bushveld.
I'm searching for the spirit of the great heart to hold and keep me by.
And joining Johnny on stage for the first unbelievable time to sing Great Heart is Jesse, his son.
I'm searching for the spirit of the great heart to hold and keep me by. I'm searching for the spirit of the great heart and breaking sky.
He's a French knight, for goodness sake, and has been awarded an OBE. And that's just 2 of the many local and international awards Johnny Clegg has received.
I went to Buckingham Palace with him when he got his OBE. It was very interesting going to Buckingham Palace with an African. There was a guardsman on duty, and Johnny wouldn't believe he was a real person. And he went right up to him and he didn't blink. And he said, he's not real, he's not real.
𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Mandela thina laphe khona laphe hleli khona.
In 1986, Johnny wrote 𝗃𝗵𝗶𝘆, honoring Mandela and other struggle heroes.
Mandela thina laphe khona
When John first played it to me, they were rehearsing for a show, and he was sitting on the stage. He said, "Listen to this," and I went, "We're recording this tomorrow." Every single time, my hair stands up.
This is a song that we wrote for truly one of the greatest South Africans in history.
Then, 10 years later, at a concert in Frankfurt, Germany.
I was singing the song, and the crowd went, "Oh!"
So you
I
didn't
thought,
know.
I thought they were doing it for me. I thought they know my song. Wow.
And they like it.
And they like it. And he was walking slowly on with Mandisa, my singer, but I couldn't see because I was right in the front of the stage.
So you're catching it now through the corner of your eye.
Yes.
But you're so good because you didn't even do a double take.
Yeah, no.
No, you acted like you knew about this whole thing.
Yes, but I was flawed. You know, I'm a songwriter, and for me, it's the pinnacle of my songwriting, that song and that moment, to have it validated by the man I wrote it for. It was just the universe making these two things happen.
In 2015, Johnny was diagnosed with cancer. He's now in remission and using this opportunity for a final set of concerts locally and internationally. It's his way of saying thank you.
Thank you for this journey. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being Clegg heads and Savuka heads and 𝗀𝗫𝗍𝗔 heads. Thank you for making this journey worthwhile and for helping me show something else that was possible at a time where it seemed impossible.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Nami ngiyabonga.